I feel like a fish out of water. The high points of my days are when I pray with my spiritual family at Emmanuel. When I look out at congregations gathered on Sunday mornings, on Saturday evenings, on Wednesdays at the healing services, and I say, as I do during Lent, bless the Lord who forgives all our sins. But now we are in a worldwide health emergency and must avoid gatherings, even to bless the Lord. So I feel like a fish out of water. My grammar school English teachers taught us that verbs are action words. To swim, for example, is a verb because it shows action. And we learned that nouns are being words because they name something or someone. So to swim is a verb, and swimmer is a noun. A swimmer is one who swims. So think about this. Liturgy is a verb, and Christian is a noun. So how can we be Christians when we cannot pray together, when we can't gather to pray? That's the question conscientious pastors are asking ourselves. The obvious answer is trying to stay connected by utilizing digital resources such as our website, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, email. We're looking at all those things. These are tools which will help us stay connected and even inspired during this time. But I hope they don't become the new normal when the crisis is past, because praying together in a familiar sacred place is and always has been important for Christians, even vitally important. So think of this present time of waiting as a spiritual discipline. Let us ask God, what can we learn about our faith as we wait for that glorious day when we can once again gather inside our spiritual home at Emmanuel? I've been reminded of other times when the church faced crises and had to avoid public worship. And I was reminded of the words of a poem by John Donne, which have been used often through the centuries since he wrote them, and he wrote them during such a time. No man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as any manner of thy friends and of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sin to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Donne wrote those words from what could have been his deathbed during an epidemic in England in 1623 and 24. His way of staying connected, his social media, were his poems published as devotions, which means something to ponder as we wait. So I encourage you to do more than just get through this time, but to reflect and ponder what we have always taken for granted, the ability to gather and worship at Emmanuel. Many of us try to come up with creative ways to give something up for Lent. This Lent, circumstances have forced us to give up the gatherings and rituals that define who we are. But that's not quite accurate. There were decades in Japan, for example, when Christianity was outlawed, yet Christianity survived among small groups and individuals who continued to pray the prayers of the church when and where they could. That's what we must do. Take our prayer books and, like the exiles in Babylon who wept when they remembered the temple in Jerusalem, continued to offer up their prayers. If you don't have a prayer book at home, it's available online at bcponline.org. Take a look, for example, at the Great Litany in the Book of Common Prayer. O holy, blessed, and glorious Trinity, one God, have mercy upon us from lightning and tempest, from earthquake, fire and flood, from plague, pestilence, and famine. Good Lord, deliver us. We don't think very often about plagues, but there it is and has been for centuries, a petition for mercy in times of pandemics. This can be a time of tremendous spiritual growth if we, while we wait for the all clear to go back to church, if we continue to be the church of prayer. Maybe when this is over and we gather with renewed and greater devotion and joy. Meanwhile, remember how you were dismissed after taking communion the last time we were together. Go in peace, I said, to love and serve the Lord. And you said, thanks be to God. So make calls, stay connected, take food to those who can't get out, encourage one another in 1,000 different ways, and pray for the day when we can once again be glad when they say, let us go into the house of the Lord.